You are now watching The Lone Blown. Blown! Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to The Lone Blown here. I'm The Lone Blown, aka Zach Lesage, and today we're actually going to be going over a new deck that I haven't covered on the channel before. Let me put my mic a little bit closer up here so you can hear me loud and clear. We are going to be going over Cracephalon. What is Cracephalon? Well, it's kind of the brainchild of Poke Hawkeye, one of my testing teammates, Andrew Hedrick, and he came up with this concept with some of his friends that you got Cramorant, Blacephalon, Reshiram, and Charizard-GX. So it's kind of like a fire toolbox deck, kind of like Blacephalon. A lot of it's kind of like when I was playing Welder and Friends a year ago, or stuff like that. It focuses off of Welder and all those good things in order to make the deck come together. So I'm going to be showcasing where his list is at, kind of showing you how the deck works, how to play it, and a couple games as well. If you're missing any of the cards for this deck, head over to PTCGO plug in code ZLesage5, and you can save 5% on your next order of codes. So whether for this deck or any other cards that you're looking to pick up for your collection, head on over there. Check out the description again for other sponsors, other things like that. Feel free to support the channel however you like, and don't forget to subscribe as well. Currently on our road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's try to get there. I mean, hopefully if you're watching this in the future, like, Zach got 1,000 subscribers. I'm just trying to get there right now. Anyways, let's jump into this deck list, see exactly how it goes. So here we have the deck, and the name Cracephalon obviously comes from Cramorant V and Blacephalon. And Andrew basically tossed in a couple versions of Reshiram for a good measure. So this is kind of, without any kind of fancy name or anything like that, this is a Welder toolbox deck. It's a deck that functions off Welder, attaching a couple fire energies from your hand to one of your Pokemon and drawing 3 cards. So one of the greatest energy acceleration option that we have in the game right now. Fire type base, and we could power up these 3 Pokemon. Everything else that we have in the deck, such as the Crobat V, the Dedenne-GX, the Jirachis, the Oricorio, and even the Mewtwo, are all supportive of this deck. This deck is very, I find it reactionary, or you could just go forward with a gigantic attack. So if your opponent puts a Dedenne-GX down on their bench, you can knock them out with a Cramorant V. If your opponent puts a Crobat V down on their bench, you could go Zigzagoon, Scoop Up Net, Zigzagoon, Snipe with Cramorant. If your opponent just sends up something like an Eternatus, you can go Blacephalon to get a huge knockout. Or if your opponent's going for more of a tag team base, you can go with Reshiram and Charizard-GX, swing for the turn 1 double blaze, going into a flare strike, and try to overpower your opponent. So it's very different. Every single game is going to be very different depending on what you start with. But of course, you're going to be using the Jirachi, Scoop Up Net, and Switch combo with Welder to try to power up one of these 3 Pokemon. Not that one, this one. So basically, I'll go over the deck one by one. You can find this deck in the description below if you're wanting to copy and paste it right into PTCGO. Cramorant V is mainly here for its spit shot attack, so you can snipe 160 on a Pokemon. Quite often you want to snipe things that you are either going to one-shot. You can hit with Zigzagoon the next turn. So you could snipe a Crobat for 160 and then go Zigzagoon the next turn. You could bench lock your opponent. There's a few plays that you could do that are key with the Cramorant. But namely, you could draw 2 prize cards at once. In the Centiskorch matchup, you could also go Spit Shot 160 to a Centiskorch V or V Max, and then finish them off the next turn with another Spit Shot. If all else does not work, then you can always use Beak Catch to search your deck for up to 2 cards. Don't sleep on that attack. I mean, Marnie's going to be absolutely rough to deal with, but Beak Catch can save your butt in a few situations. Got Crobat V, which is going to allow you to draw some cards with Dark Assets. Dark Asset's going to work really well with Dedenne-GX. It's kind of like a third Dedenne-GX in this deck, except you could use Dedenne Change and use Crobat in the same turn. Maybe you don't want to discard those precious Welders or anything like that in your hands, but I mean, Dark Asset's pretty cool. Zigzagoon is really here to make that extra damage work, whether you try to get that huge spit shot on a Crobat V or something like that. Maybe you're just 1 damage counter off with the Fireball Circus, or you want to go Flare Strike for 240 against a Pikarom. I mean, there's a lot of cool things that you could be doing with Zigzagoon. Just see how much damage you need to have in play. Again, it is abusable with Scoop Up Net, so you probably want to save this if you think you need it in the matchup. Blacephalon's really here for that huge firepower. If you can't knock out something with Cramorant, or if you can't knock out something with Reshiram and Charizard-GX, Blacephalon will be there for Fireball Circus. So whether your opponent's playing like a Colossal VMAX or like an Eternatus VMAX, this could swing for that huge damage if you haven't already pinged anything before with a pretty powerful attack. It is a single prize card Pokemon as well, so do keep that in mind. So it's likely going to get knocked out. You probably want to use your, just really be wise when you're using your Blacephalon, because you don't want to run out of energies throughout the rest of the game. You don't want to use it too late in the game, because then you will have a lack of energies. But if you think you can get the knockouts, and you've whittled your deck down enough, Fireball Circus is huge. Don't sleep on Blazer either. Make sure to check through your deck for your prize cards, and you can see exactly how many fire energies, so you could put it to a pretty good odds of what you can hit off Blazer. Reshiram Charizard-GX is kind of like a bulldozer in this deck. It's hard to knock it out for 270 damage, which means that Outrage is viable, but going in with a double Blaze into a Flare Strike is huge. You could also just kind of knock out things with the double Blaze GX if you really need to for 300 damage if that ever becomes an option. Dedenne-GX, really kind of like Crobat, I've already described a little bit. Pitching your hand away and drawing cards is not going to be a bad thing when you're trying to like search for fire crystals, etc., etc. Jirachi here allows us to grab all of these great cards that you could see, and you're allowed to go scoop up net, switch into other Jirachis, and do whatever you really need to do. Don't forget that Jirachi can't retreat while it's asleep, otherwise you're going to end up with an upset turn. Marshadow here is really to take away Chaotic Swell or any other pesky stadium, so you could drop your own Giant Hearth, so you can start searching out your fire energies. Red Knuckles isn't super powerful anymore, but if you do run in the case where an Ultra Beast is in play, especially if weakness is there, Red Knuckles could do a decent bit of damage. Mewtwo is namely to get back your supporters on top of your deck. You could then grab them with Jirachi, grab them with Dedenne, or grab them with Crobat V here. Scoop up Nettable so you can keep on using it over and over again instead of Eldegoss, so it works out pretty well. Oricorio-GX here is to draw cards after your opponent knocks out one of your Pokemon. Be careful with how many Pokemon you put down in play prize card wise. And Dance of, like this Oricorio could clog up your bench, but drawing 3 cards is going to help make this deck a little bit more immune to Marnie, Reset Stamp, things like that. So Oricorio-GX can be huge. Single copy of Cherish Ball because there are a few GX Pokemon that this deck can grab. And then there's a couple copies of Pokemon Communication to make the deck a little bit more consistent. Again, you might have a correct Pokemon in your hand or an incorrect Pokemon that you might want to swap out. There's the 4 copies of Fire Crystals, that's to get energies back from the discard pile when you discard them with things like Fireball Circus or with Spit Shot. Pokegear makes this deck slightly more consistent, giving you improved chances of grabbing Welder or Boss's Orders. We got 4 copies of Quick Ball. Quick Ball is going to be able to search out any Pokemon that we have in the deck, all 17 of them. Scoop Up Net is only availably working on non-VGX Pokemon. So Zigzagoon, Blacephalon, Jirachi, Marshadow, Mewtwo. Do not get stuck in the active position with the wrong Pokemon. 4 copies of Switch, that one works on all Pokemon. But remember, you want to make sure that you're keeping track of if you've already used Elder Wish or not that turn. Giant Hearth is going to be able to grab out your fire energies from the deck. You could also pitch other things, maybe get a few fire energy in the discard pile for Fire Crystal. Store them in there, or maybe a supporter to grab back with Mewtwo. Got Boss Orders to bring up whatever you want. Remember, you cannot use Boss's Orders and Welder in the same turn. So you really want to use Boss's Orders on a Pokemon, like when you have something powered up like the Reshiram and Charizard-GX, to kind of overrun your opponent with the Flare Strike Double Blaze combination. Already went over Welder. This deck is completely Welder based. All the attacks cost 2+ energy, so Welder's going to work out fantastic here. Then we got enough fire energies to make the deck work with the fire crystals. So overall, we got a pretty interesting deck here. It's kind of open to a wide variety of kind of different options and plays within the game. So we'll see in some of the gameplay that we have here. I think this is a really cool deck if you're just starting the Pokemon TCG, because you could add in a cool few tech cards. So this deck's a little bit more of like a purist Fire Toolbox meets Blacephalon deck. But would it be surprising to cut a Blacephalon for a double V? No. Would it be crazy to see a Heatran GX, a Talonflame V, instead of the Reshiram and Charizard GX? Sure, some cards are better than others, and I mean, I think this is probably the best way to play the deck right now. But if you're missing a few cards, like let's say if you only have the one Cramorant V, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for you to have a Heatran GX in this deck. Maybe even a 1/1 Centiskorch VMAX. The sky is kind of the limit with these Welder toolbox decks. So if you're new to the game, or you're just trying to collect a few of the cards, or you don't have all the cards for this deck, let me know in the comments if you have any cool ideas to add some cards into this deck, because you could probably make it work a bunch of different ways to a similar amount of success. But you want to know what? I really want to show you how some of the gameplay works for this deck, so let's check that out. Okay, call a coin flip. I'm going to call tails. We lost the coin flip. Let's see what our opponent decides to choose for us. Are we going to be going first or going second? We're actually going second again. Awkward hand here. So sometimes decks like this just fail from the beginning. I mean, I could top deck a quick ball and be in a game-winning position. But this is probably going to be a bit more of an awkward matchup, especially considering our opponent has Drillbur. They're a single prize card deck. Cool stuff like that. Maybe they're going to get another Drillbur here. Yeah. I played against one of these decks the other day. They decided to opt for the second Minchino. So when I was able to actually get a Welder with the other deck, surprisingly, knockouts on their active Drillbur, they just conceded. But I'm totally cool if our opponent wants to put down some 2 prize card Pokemon. Like the Dedenne-GX. That's one of the biggest faults for a single prize card deck. There's probably nothing that they really needed there anyways, to be honest. I mean, we could still lose this game, but you see they just played Dedenne for no reason. So we got the Cramorant. We're going to be able to draw 2 prize cards on our first turn. There's a Welder. Might as well put down a Jirachi. Do this, switch, and we're just going to yeet that Dedenne out on the first turn of the game. So they benched us and gave us 2 prize cards for free. So one thing that's like, even if we're not doing well in these games, I mean, I feel like this deck is, no offense to anyone who play tested and worked on this deck, I feel like this deck is an inconsistent mess. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just has a lot of different gameplays going on. As much as our hand is, I don't think it's fantastic, we're able to draw 2 prize cards on our first turn. We probably follow it up with another prize card on our second turn of the game. 150 is not the hardest thing to hit. We have resistance here as well. So it's nothing too crazy, and our opponents might be put in a position where it might not work out for them. So there's their research. They're discarding a lot of resources here. I mean, they have all Pal Pads and ordinary Rod Package and stuff like that in their deck. But they might struggle to find a fighting energy. They might struggle to get set up throughout the game. And we'll just continuously see what our options are. We're very much reacting to what our opponent can do. When it comes to something like this, I wouldn't even mind getting out a Reshiram and Charizard-GX, because I can get a knockout with Double Blaze. I can get out a knockout with Outrage the turn after. They might struggle to knock it out the turn after that. So there's just good things going on here. Maybe they'll just go Fion. If they want Fion to knock out the Zigzagoon, I'd actually be quite happy here. No, they're just going Drill Bazooka. So Fire Energies are going to probably go down real quick here. I'm going to Quick Ball away and actually just double check what we have in the deck here. So we have 6 of those energies left. I'm going to go ahead and go to Dedenne-GX of my own. Just want to get something set up here if that's a possibility in any capacity. I can get another prize card if I really want to. I might just snipe out this Chinchino. I'm not too worried about what else our opponent can do. So let's go ahead, rip this Jirachi. I'm going to go Welder. Got another Welder set up for next turn as well. I'm going to put the Oricorio down so we could draw some extra cards. And I'm feeling pretty good about what we got going on here. Even if our opponent gets the knockouts, we got a Spit Shot. I'm fine losing energies. The deck plays 4 Fire Crystals. Do not forget that. So 3 energies for a 2 prize card Pokemon. Doing some quick math, even if our opponent knocks out with an Excadrill, our Pokemon would have done its everything already. And I mean, I think they can't get through a Reshiram and Charizard-GX. So that's what I'm going to do next turn. We already have the energies to do that in our hand right now, currently. Because we can go Giant Hearth, grab 2 Fire Energies. I think we have 3 left in the deck at this point. And just kind of put our opponent in a really rough spot. And if they're not playing boss orders on Dedenne-GX, I think that's really where we're going to see the strengths. So there's their martial arts. We're going to be able to bump that with a giant hearth. They will be able to get the knockout this turn, which is good for them. Let's see what our opponent's doing here. There's the Drill Bazooka, 130. Cool. That's 4 Crushing Hammers. I probably do not need to worry about that anymore, which is really nice. So let's send up this Jirachi, see what we got going on here. And this is where order of operations is going to become huge. So I want to thin out my deck a little bit more. I don't think I need to worry too much about what they got going on with double martial arts. I don't think they're going to play a chaotic spell out of nowhere. So I'm going to go Giant Hearth, rip this Marshadow to shreds. Grab 2 of the remaining fire energies. And before I do anything, I'm going in with the Reshiram Charizard-GX. So I'm going to go Welder because I want to try to thin out because I'm searching for a fire crystal. So when you're searching for an item card, you want to thin your deck out of other cards. So still don't have it yet at this point. We're going to use Dance of Tribute first to thin the deck even more. And we got a couple Jirachis, good things like that going on here. So let's go Stellar Wish first. Got the Fire Crystal. Let's go ahead, use Fire Crystal. 1, 2, 3. And we win the game in 3 attacks, unless, of course, our opponent's going to drop down something else. So I'm going to go ahead, switch this into the Reshiram and Charizard-GX. Pretty good with everything that we got going on here. I'm just going to go ahead and go Double Blaze GX. So as long as our opponent attacks into the Reshiram and Charizard-GX, we will win this game. And I'll tell you why. Because this is going to take 2 shots for them to do. So that's 2 turns. And they're going to have to knock out something out there after that. So minimum, they have 3 turns if they attack into the Reshiram and Charizard-GX. But we have 2 turns left to win the game. So do you see how a simple play like this is allowing us to absolutely dominate our opponents? So using HP can really overwhelm your opponent in a case like this. So yeah, as long as they attack, we cannot lose. And I'll make it really simple by just getting out like a Cramorant, something that could just do 160. I mean, it's very possible that they could do something huge here. Maybe something that I'm just not suspecting of. But their setup here is telling me otherwise. Fion would be even better because I could just send up a single prize card Pokemon, enhancing their turns by 1. So there's the Drill Bazooka. They did not get the 1-shot on my Reshiram and Charizard-GX here. So now I can just kind of go search my deck. I can go like this. I'll show you exactly a cool play that I could do. So let's go Mewtwo. Put a Welder on top of my deck. I'm going to switch into the Jirachi. I'm going to yeet that Welder off the top of my deck. Going Stellar Wish, grabbing a Welder. Surprise, surprise that it exists there. Right? Now I can go Scoop Up Net onto the Jirachi. Sending this up. I can actually go Scoop Up Net onto the Mewtwo. So if I ever need anything for next turn, I totally can. I have a Jirachi if I need to send up a Jirachi for next turn. And now I could just go Quick Ball. Quick Ball, discarding my other Jirachi, which isn't going to matter for the rest of the game. Let's grab the Cramorant V. And you can see all these extra energies that we have in our discard pile. We can totally go through ahead and get some extra ones back in. So there's Cramorants. Here's the Welder. So we have our Cramorant all fully powered up for next turn. And you might be like, yo, Zach, you don't have enough energies. We actually have enough damage to do it with Outrage, doing 150 damage. So, all in all, I think we're pretty checkmate in this game. So there's Outrage. Our opponent now has to draw 4 prize cards on their turn. Otherwise, I can knock out any Pokemon they have in their deck with Outrage, or I could snipe anything that they have in play with Spit Shot. This is how decks like this can checkmate your opponent very quickly. and why decks that have multiple attackers, different things. Like, I know I haven't used Blacephalon at all in these games, and I know the deck is called Cracephalon. It just so happens I'm playing against matchups where Reshiram and Charizard-GX can put in the work. Our opponent might not even be able to get the knockout here unless they use 11th Hour Tackle. And in that case, they're going to have to get less than 3 cards in their deck. So they're going to struggle in order to do that. They still have to get another 2 cards out in play, and then they're just waiting to lose with the Cramorant V. So this deck has a lot of layers to it. Again, a little bit on the inconsistent side, but you saw how the deck can just kind of rally through knockouts and really just push Pokemon and squeeze every single little bit of effort that they have out of them. So they're going to try to draw another card to get the knockout here. They might not even be able to get a knockout here. Yeah, Drill Bazooka. You can see our opponent ending with 4 prize cards. Us just being able to win the game with outrage. Absolutely huge. Okay, so going to call the coin flip. There's tails. We won the coin flip. Do you want to go first? No, we'd much rather go second in this case. So we can off our turn 1 Welder. Starting with a Crobat is not necessarily my favorite start, but we do have a few good things going for us where we can kind of go Quick Ball, discarding a Fire Energy. Got some cool stuff, and our opponent playing Alchemy, interesting choice on their behalf. It's really tough. Alchemy is a super cool Pokemon, but it is weak to Metal type, which means that Zacian, Luke Metal, ADP decks are just kind of going to tear it up a little bit. Okay. So let's go Giant Hearth here. I'm going to discard an energy. Don't think we need to worry about our opponent taking away our energies too much. So I am just going to go ahead and grab a Reshiram and Charizard-GX. Let's see if we can rip a Welder here. So we know we're going to be able to take a turn 1 knockout, which is huge. It's kind of what I was talking about. And I'm just going to go switch in here. I have no problem putting down an Oricorio if they somehow get a knockout. I don't think my opponent will be able to respond to this. And then we're going to go with Double Blaze GX for the knockouts. And our opponent's probably, this is where the power of the deck can just kind of creep in. We went from having a mediocre hand, no Jirachi started with Crobat. I decided to go forward with the Reshiram and Charizard-GX. And here we are. Now, our opponent is getting out their Porygon Z. So we'll have to see. Maybe they go Crazy Code Draw Energy. There's a Recycle Energy. Weakness Guard. They're going with Hapu. So Hapu is going to allow them to look at the top 6 cards of their deck. If they find a basic Pokemon, they could be in a really rough position. Or if they don't find a basic Pokemon, I should say. Okay, so they found the Capture Energy, which will be allowing them to search out something. And there's a Snorlax. Probably will just retreat into the Snorlax to draw cards with Gormandize. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's fine. We can still always go for Flare Strike for knockouts. Yeah, I'm gonna go Flare Strike for the knockouts. And here I feel pretty good about just what's going on in general. I've already attached my turn. I don't really feel like trying to go extra in this game right now because everything is going so well. If I fight for a Boss Orders this turn, I could always fight for a Boss Orders next turn if they drop an Alcremie. So let's just go for Flare Strike, knockout. So 3 prize cards, 2 turns, no complaints at all there. And my opponent's just absolutely going to start struggling. They're going with a broken heart, and they're just going to concede. I mean, that makes sense. I won the coin flip. Do I want to go first? No. I'm going to let my opponent go first here. I think it's a little bit better to get off that possible turn 1 Welder. And we're just waiting for our opponent to choose an active Pokemon. Don't know which one they're going to choose here. I think I'm going to start with the Reshiram and Charizard-GX. Seems to me like most matchups, I could probably just go with a huge like turn 1 double blaze, put myself in a winning position. Most decks cannot withstand a turn 1 double blaze GX. Actually, I probably should have put Blacephalon knowing that I have the scoop up net, but you want to know what? It's, you live and you learn. I don't think our opponent's going to reset stamp us or anything like that. And they're going with the ADP here. So, I mean, I'm not too worried about that. We'll see what our opponent's able to do here. Maybe they, there's a big charm. Okay, that's fine. There's their energy. Maybe they don't have access to Zacian. It'd be huge if they could only have the 1 energy in the active spot and just go with ADP pass. If we can get off a double blaze, which I feel pretty confident about, I think we'll be able to win this game. And they're just going for the pass there. Huge. So there's a fire energy. We just need to find 1 more. So I'm going to go Pokemon Communication away at Dedenne for a Crobat. And I'm actually going to go Pokemon Communication away the Crobat for another Crobat. I go Blacephalon, scoop up nets, Blacephalon. And I'm just going to go Crobat to try to draw another fire energy. So here we're going to be able to have it. Let's get a fire energy in our discard pile. Thin those fire energies out of the deck because we don't want to draw into them. I'm probably just going to leave the way that I have things right now. Maybe force our opponent into a mobile. We have a bigger hands. I don't necessarily know if I want to put down another 2 prize card Pokemon if I don't have to. So let's just go ahead here and go for Double Blaze. Turn 1, 200 damage. So now our opponent, who has not used Altered Creation GX, has to face against a Flare Strike for 230 damage next turn. So on our second turn of the game, we'll draw 3 prize cards. Now, they might have a way around this. They might go Boss Orders and vibe out for a turn. But I mean, I think we got a pretty good shot of just kind of getting around this. So really the early game pressure here is strong. We're just vibing. We're going to try to find unique ways to draw our prize cards. Oh, ADP and Malolana. What? Is this just like an ADP healing deck? I'm actually not sure what we're playing against. I thought this would just be an ADP Zacian deck. Okay, there's another ADP. There's a Viridian Forest. I'm actually fine with a Viridian Forest going in play. They have a Boss Orders there. For the Water Energy. Water Energy to the bench one. Interesting. It's double Metal Saucers. And then, okay, yeah, I guess they just have no cards left in hand. We'll take another win. So we won the coin flip, and literally, we want to go second again. Would you like to go first? No. I think it's much better to go second with this deck, because you can get those huge turns. And here we actually got probably the best start that we've seen so far to these games. There's a Jirachi, which means that we might be able to search out that Giant Hearth. We could search out a lot of cool things on our first turn. Our opponent's likely playing the Centiskorch Still Valley deck here. So the fact that they're going first... Oh, wow, they're just going to go right in with the Centiskorch. Don't know how I feel about that. They might fall victim to a Blacephalon. That's actually very reasonable, considering they also gave us a Giant Hearth here in the active spot, too. So, if they only get the one Centiskorch V out, I'm probably just going to try to aim down for a knockout, and we kind of have everything if we ever need to. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead, Blacephalon, yeet this down. I probably should have went with Giant Hearth first to check. So we got all those energies. Reshiram, Charizards, we have those. We have a Crobat, we have a Dedenne. We have access to our Mewtwo. 4 Fire Crystals, good to know these things. We've prized... Yeah, I honestly, I don't think there's too much that's prized here. So let's go ahead and Welder on to the Blacephalon first. There's nothing that I want to discard with Quick Ball or anything like that, so we need to get out 5 energies to knock at the Centiskorch. I'm just going to go Quick Ball away. I don't know if Scoop Up Net's going to matter. Scoop Up Net's probably better in this case. Where I'm just going to go Quick Ball away, grabbing a Marshadow. Since I've already used that Giant Hearth, I'm going to use another Giant Hearth. So this is kind of a big brain play. It should be able to work. So taking away their Giant Hearth, so I have access to another Giant Hearth. Using my Fire Crystal, and I'm just trying to get the most as I possibly can out of this hand before I Dedenne it away. I can also go Stellar Wish here. I don't know if there's anything cool that I want. I don't really care about any of these cards in particular. I mean, I could go Quick Ball. Yeah, let's go ahead and go Quick Ball. So, Scoop Up Net away the Jirachi. Now we just need to get 5 energies. That's what our goal is. So, Quick Ball away the Jirachi. I can grab the Crobat V here, which is going to allow me to draw some cards. So this is some pretty cool sequencing. I mean, if there's anything that you could gain from this video, I think the sequencing here is awesome. So there's one of the fire energies. It's so close to actually just getting into another one. I actually think that I could just put another Jirachi down. If I could have switched in there, that would be huge. I think I just want to go to Dedenne-GX down here. I don't hate putting a Reshiram and Charizard-GX down. I'm pretty sure I could wait on that, though. So yeah, I'm just going to go to Dedenne-GX down. Rip this hand away. Try to get some fire energies here. And I mean, I don't think this is going to be a possibility at this point. Because I did not find a fire crystal. I did not find a lot of things. Okay, so what was once a really cool thing that we could have done. I'm just going to switch into the Jirachi, vibe out for the turn. Still have access with Giant Hearth. I could discard the boss's orders. I can go Stellar Wish. Search for the Fire Crystal. And I think I'm just going to vibe out for next turn. Nothing else that I really want to do. As far as I'm concerned. So yeah, let's just go ahead here and pass. Maybe going for the Reshiram and Charizard-GX would have been a bit of a better strategy. And then going for a Zigzagoon, that could have been huge. But we need to get 7 energy in play to knock out this Pokemon. Tails. I mean, I'm not really too worried about the heads here either. Maybe I could have got another Jirachi out here too. That could have been interesting. There's their G-Max Inferno. Send up the Crobat V. I don't want to put the Giant Hearth out yet. I want to kind of just go Welder for a single energy. Maybe I'll go... Have I lost a Cramorant already? I have not. I don't think I need the Zigzagoon anymore at this point. I think I'm fine just to go Welder 1 onto the Reshiram Charizard. Maybe I want a hard retreat. I don't think it matters here. Okay, so yeah, let's go Welder the 1 energy here. So nothing going on there. I can now go Dance of Tribute to draw 3 energies, or 3 cards. So far we have 3 energies. I mean, I don't think we're going to get close to enough. We're just not finding our hard energies. Okay, you want to what? We're just going to get we're just going to do as much as possible. I don't see any issue with us doing 200. I'm going to put the Welder on top of the deck. I'm just going to go 200. Hopefully our opponent doesn't do too much else after that. One, two, three, four. Ta-da. 200 damage. So I can attack with a Flare Strike, maybe a double Blaze GX the following turn. Just trying to put the game a little bit back in here. I might have, I don't know, it's weird. But we got those double Fire Crystals, so I mean, I should be okay. I think our opponent's probably just going to take the knockout in the active. Everything tells me that their hand is not insane. And they've only drawn one prize card here too. And that one prize card was what? A Jirachi. Nothing too crazy at all. So there's a Fire Energy. Maybe they're just trying to use Silver Knight or Brave Buddies. In this matchup, thin their hand out, maybe searching for a Boss Orders. Boss Orders would allow them to draw additional prize cards this turn. Okay, an Air Balloon. Just kind of... They're really searching for it. I'm actually completely fine if they want to continuously go down this. I'm cool with that too. That doesn't actually change too much about this math. So there's their Sun of Scorch V. Heatran GX. Are they going to attack with Heatran this turn? Just the interesting points. Maybe. Nope. They're just going to go with G-Max Centiferno. I'm cool with this. So they've drawn 2 prize cards. We're about to draw 3 prize cards, pushing the prize card race further into our favor. So I'm going to go Giant Hearth. I want to thin the deck out as much as possible. Fire Crystal. Remember, we got to be careful with the energies that we do have left here. And also, Crushing Hammers is very uncommon in a deck like this. So there's third. I mean, I can also draw some extra cards here. Maybe I want to be careful a little bit. I'll see what I can get off Pokegear. I can always do that next turn. I can always go Scoop Up Net, Pokegear, rip a Welder out of my deck. Whatever I'm looking for. So I think I'm just going to vibe out with what I got going on and go ahead with the Double Blaze GX. So we are going to get 3 prize cards here. Our opponent is not able to knock out our Reshiram and Charizard-GX. So our biggest game, like, I think it's very similar to other games that we played where we just tank with the Reshiram Charizard-GX, draw a majority of our prize cards with that. I mean, I think I could even use Boss's Orders, get things set up, and put ourselves in a really good position here. So let's see what our opponent, let's see how they play out their turn. There's a Sun of Scorch VMAX. Even if they get the Welder on it, I'm not too worried. How many switches have we used? We'll have to really see what our top deck is here, or what our opponent does here in general. Hopefully they just kind of leave us something so that we don't get knocked out. Or so hopefully they need some, or they leave something for us to knock out. That's the best case scenario here. They have used 3 Crushing Hammers, so I'm probably not too worried about that. There's their Welder. I think they're just going to attack with the Sun of Scorch VMAX. 120 plus 160 is going to be enough for the knockouts. Right now they're doing 120. They're going to get the extra energy back and then do 160 next turn. There's the Quick Ball. I don't know what they're searching for. Heatran GX got it. I mean, to me, this seems like a pretty simple gameplay where I'm probably able to checkmate my opponents. Actually, if I can get a boss orders here in any capacity, have I played a boss orders? So yeah, let's go scoop up net here. Because this is weak to fire. I can put this back down, put a boss orders on top of the deck, rip it back out. Here's the Cramorant V. I can attach an energy to the Cramorant V. I can now go boss orders, bring this up, which would be able to knock it out. And next turn, I have game in hands. So I don't see any reason for me not to go... Actually, Welder might not be the case. I should probably just leave everything as is. Go... I already have 2 fire energies, 2 in my hand. I don't think there's much else in my deck, Cherish Ball-wise. Oh, there's even the Dedenne-GX. Yeah, I don't think there's a possible way for me to lose this game. I'm going to leave my hand. I didn't think there was another Jirachi-GX there, but let's go Outrage. Outrage for 300 damage and just kind of vibing out here. Okay, so we'll see exactly how my opponent reacts to this situation. Because, I mean, I think it's done enough where they're just kind of vibing out. Like, they'd have to find a reset stamp. If they play reset stamp, they play 4 crushing hammers, which is really uncommon in the deck. But, I don't know. Opponent's playing definitely a weird version of the deck. I don't see them not taking the knockout on the Reshiram Charizard-GX. I could just go Pokegear, snipe this Dedenne-GX for game. Depending on what I top, like, I think it's impossible for me not to even naturally just top deck, even if I did not have the Pokegear. Even if they got a reset stamp, I think it's also impossible for me not to have win in hands between Giant Hearth or Oricorio. So there's that. I can always get a boss orders. I mean, I think this is probably the correct play, especially if they could find an energy to attach. I'll wait on it. They could technically get a crushing hammer. I mean, I guess we also have the Cramorant V in hands, so that's a possibility too. And there's the reset stamp. Okay, this might be a little bit more interesting. Okay. The reset stamp to 1, bringing up the Cramorant V and taking the knockout is definitely probably the best move that our opponent can make here. I'm going to go ahead and send up the Reshiram and Charizard-GX. I'm looking for a scoop up net. Dedenne would also be very helpful. There's a fire energy. I mean, before I do anything else, I don't want Blacephalon in my hands. So I'm going to go Giant Hearth, discarding the Blacephalon, grabbing 2 fire energies, thinning my deck down to 13 cards. There's no Pokemon communications, anything else like that. Let's see what Dance of Tribute brings here. This is actually terrible. I can't believe that this is the way that the game's turning. Okay. So, I mean, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and retreat. Actually, I can't retreat into the Mewtwo. So I have to go retreat into the Jirachi. See what Stellar Wish brings. Scoop Up Net is probably not the card that I'm looking for. To me, the card that I'm looking for is probably... you want to know what it could be, Scoop Up Nets. No, the card that I'm looking for is Welder. At this point, I need to go Welder, Outrage. It will allow me to draw more cards as well. So let's go Welder. Not Outrage, sorry. Double Blaze GX. At this point, I'm going to use Fire Crystal to get some more fire energies back into the deck. So if my opponent plays another Reset Stamp, if we survive through this turn, our opponent basically got the correct combination of Boss, Reset Stamp. I can't believe that they actually got this. I go Scoop of Net for Boss next turn. So I'm going to vibe out here with what we got going on and pass. If our opponent's able to get a Boss orders back, I mean, we already knocked out an Eldegoss. Most of these lists only play one copy of Boss. Sometimes they play a Great Catcher, but the Boss Eldegoss is usually enough. So I'm really hoping that our opponent just is forced to knock out the Jirachi and we're able to win the game next turn. Yeah, our opponent just naturally got it. Whatever, it happens. Try my best here this game, but it is what it is. Did not think our opponent was going to sneak out the game like that, but it's super cool gameplay on their behalf. So you're probably thinking to me, Zach, what are your thoughts on this deck after playing it for the better part of an hour? And my thoughts are, it's like any other Welder deck. It has a lot of strengths going for it. I like the options. There's a lot of options to this deck that make it really strong. So I'm pretty sure that Andrew and his group that created this deck thought of that while playing this deck. Do I think that they probably will play it better than me? Yeah, 100%. It's the deck that they play typically all the time. Whereas I'm used to be playing the Pikarom decks and other decks. I don't really mess around with... I haven't really been playing Welder decks too often recently. But I think the deck, kind of like other Welder decks, has inconsistency issues. Even though the Jirachi and all these cool things are allowing you to scoop up net, draw other cards, drawing 3 cards can put you in a moment where you can get Reset Stamped out of nowhere. Kind of like as you saw there. I probably misplayed with the Cherish Ball, to be honest. I should have had that in the deck so I could have searched something out. I would have had a double proved in chance of getting that Dedenne-GX in the last turn. Now, it's really easy to look in mono, like kind of hyper-focus into things, but I don't know. I think the deck's interesting enough. Is it well placed in the metagame? Probably not. I think Marnie, Reset Stamp, Chaotic Swell are all really popular cards right now. Do I think that I can win some games with a skilled player like Andrew? Yeah, 100%. So if you're a fan of decks like this, I think it's a really good opportunity for you to try things out. I think it's a great deck for new players to kind of experiment with different gameplay paths. As you saw, I had a lot of different gameplay paths in order to win games during this video. But overall, I think the deck, for me, is not the type of deck for me. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be the utmost winning deck in the metagame compared to the Pikarom, Eternatus, decks like that. So, hopefully y'all enjoyed this video today. Just trying to keep it informative, seeing what's going on with the metagame, trying out all these new decks, just so I can kind of inform you on what's going on. So, hopefully y'all appreciate that. And I mean, I appreciate all the love that I've been getting lately from all of you. I really appreciate all the comments, support, new subs, everything. Y'all are amazing, so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. If you haven't already subbed yet, I know I've said it a whole bunch, hit that sub button right there. Let's go. We're so close to 1,000 subs at the time of this video that it's crazy. It's what's driving my passion right now to create content. So if you haven't already, totally would validate all my efforts on the timeless, countless nights that I have playing Pokemon. But that being said, I love playing the game. I do gotta get going because I gotta create some more content for y'all. But have yourself a wonderful night, wonderful day, wherever you are in the world. Enjoy yourself. Have yourself a great one. Until next time, peace out. Really hope that you enjoyed watching that video. I totally enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like the video, share the video with everyone that you know, and subscribe to the channel as well. Totally appreciate all the support. We got a lot of cool things happening on the channel, so stay tuned for more. Be sure to check out the social links in the description. Thanks and have yourself a great one.